Hey, welcome back to the show, everybody. This one is brought to you by ERT Radio. I'm trying out my new device here, so we'll see how it looks here. So far, I'm looking a little bright, so I might have to turn down a light here too to see. So that's turning it up. Whoa, whoa. Okay, that's much better. All right, enough. That was some great audio for you people listening. ERT Radio. This is our sponsor, ERRT Radio. Go to Mixlr.com and set up your account and follow ERT Radio. And then while you're doing that, you can sit there and you can follow great shows like ourselves, Into the Outer Realms, Dimensions of the Supernatural, along with some musicals lineups that Ron puts together as his own shows too, where he basically does some readings and interviews some guests as well. So thanks to Ron for being the sponsor of Three Beers Podcast, ERT Radio. All right, everybody. Originally, we were going to be talking Afterlife, but we had a little scheduling conflict. So we decided to switch gears and go with the news of the day and also talk about one of the things that's been brought up because of the news of the day. Unless you've been under a rock, I'm sure you've been hearing about the wildfires in Maui, and as well as other natural disasters in the last few years around the world. Well, one of the attributors to this, there's some of the theories is that it's a direct energy device that has been used. So is this one that happened in Hawaii? We don't know. All we know is that there's some strange circumstances that surround it. It don't really make sense. The emergency system not working like it's supposed to. I mean, I know they're pretty gun shy after the North Korean missile thing. I'm pretty sure somebody wasn't wanting to get fired again. So I'm pretty sure they were a little hesitant to pull the trigger on that one until they made sure that somebody had, something on themselves with a flame. So we could probably give them a little bit of a pass on that one, but nonetheless, it was a massive disaster. And so we're going to be talking about this device that it's not a conspiracy. It's not a theory. It's actually something that's being developed. And so this is one, when we talk about this thing, I'm not entirely sure who was behind the development of this. I want to say it was DARPA. That was one of the ones that was involved in this, but it most likely it could have been one of the other black ops with the alphabet. So there's that. So we're going to be talking about it. So sit back, have your questions ready. Just bring on there. Except we look forward to this one. These are kind of fun every now and then when we can just sit and kick back and just talk and stuff and just go let our hairs down, suck on the business end of a whipped cream bottle like Brian's doing in the background. So, and then, so yeah, you'll know more when you see on the screen. So just sit back, anticipate that, and we'll be right back. Welcome to the Three Beards Podcast. My name is Craig, along with Austin and Chris.
Passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century.
Let me out.
I'm afraid that is right. Justice and honor in Massachusetts colony?
All right. So anyway, so that we are all here, and real quick, everybody, make sure when you come on here, like, share, and subscribe, obviously, but share this because there's a good chance this one's going to get throttled. So this
Yeah,
one's there's a good chance because I put the direct energy tech and stuff in the title. There's a good chance this one's not going to be shared very much. So if anybody sees this thing, please share it on your timeline. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like it, share it. Like I said, one of those. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, there's a good chance that it's going to get throttled.
Yeah.
But yeah, enough. Yeah, just a slight
Just a
chance.
little bit.
I'm back off my football hiatus with the sun.
Yeah.
We're back to normal practice days. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
sure.
missed my fans, my playing background. Soon's going to be a D1 athlete back here,
Nice.
5-star recruit back here. So
That's good. That works out well for everybody.
it does. You get a preview. NIL deal coming.
Now we got to see what the son's dreams are. See if they match the father's.
Just wanted to be a ballet dancer, Dad.
Yeah. Well, I just want to sing. No. I'll have none of that. Nope,
No.
none of that. Yeah, it's
You don't get a scholarship D1. You're singing.
He might be my
scholarship's a scholarship, right?
Yeah, he might be my cardiologist. I told you about eating all that fried food, Dad, but that's what you grew up on, son. Well, no, you're not supposed to eat it. It's bad for your heart. Okay, son.
Dude, I've been there, done that. It's not a bad thing to be a cardiologist. They come in handy.
Yes. No, just we'll start off like welcome. M.A. Allen is on here. King. King, welcome. Harlan, welcome.
Welcome.
I said the same thing. Just make sure you share out. Yep. Don't we all want to be that influencer that just shows up one day and we're like, oh, tee, and then you get millions of views just off of this stupid little. I mean, some of those are. Let's be honest. Some of those are funny. Would some like I've seen the one with the dentist. The dentist is trying to reach for something. The guy keeps doing the little heart thing, and the dentist like that. And they slap his hand away. Yeah, some of those are funny. I will give those. Those ones are. Those are ones that are pretty creative. I like the lifter guy. He's lifting the huge thing. There's guys next to him and he pats his leg like he wants the other weight, and the guy comes over and sits on his lap. Yeah, some of them are pretty funny the way they come up with. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, all right, enough of this joking around. People came here to talk about direct energy weapons.
Direct
Okay.
energy weapons.
So. I just figured I'd jump on this because it's the news of the day. I mean, it's been
Jump on it. Nice.
passing around.
Is that the little thing you buy from Amazon that's got like a green light on it that you can shine and it starts fires? Is that
Well, that's a
Laser, you mean?
laser. That's one of those laser things. No, the direct. Well, I mean, if you want to talk about this, can come from satellite or come from direct shot. There's one that's attributed to. It's been passed around. It's a plane. It's unknown if that is just an imaging dome on there, even though they say it's direct energy. That's one of those things. It's just it's one of those. We're pretty sure what it is, but it doesn't have a little stamp on the outside that says, "Please do not look directly into the direct energy weapon." It doesn't say that on the dome.
Caution, don't point at eyes.
Yeah. Do not look. Do not point directly at face. It doesn't say that. So
We do
there's
have them, and we've been using them. And
Yeah.
everybody has them. Russia has them. China has them.
now
Turkey's the first one to implement it in like real combat. That
So-
publicly is admitted to it.
I'll see if I can look.
So
go
are you are you saying it'll burn you up like Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Oh yeah, I mean it'll. I don't know. It could like burn maybe Hawaiian Island.
Maybe.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Dude, allegedly. I seen the video. They released a
maybe
video.
in front of it, so
Maybe allegedly.
Allegedly, it might.
I just seen the video, and they're like, "Oh, well, the power went down or something when the big flash come." But it looked like it came from the air. It doesn't look like it just power lines or nothing clapped together. It just
So I will tell you this because I've seen the videos. In the California forest fires.
Like Michael Jackson in the Pepsi commercial. Yes, you just catch on fire. Lord Jesus, it's a fire.
Beat it. Cut it out, Eddie. I've saw a video. It's actually the trail cam videos from the forest fires in California a couple years ago that were like devastating.
Mhm.
Was in one image there was a beam of white light a beam, and the next thing you know, you had a fire there, and the fire took off. There have been beams caught on satellite because the beams can work as a laser or on a microwave level. And when they work on a microwave level, they're a lot more visible through satellite imaging from.
For anybody watching, I'm not going blind. I can't find how to turn the lights on this gamer keyboard right now. So it's the light from the studio thing's blinding me. So I can't see the key letters. So I'm having to look down like I'm an old man at the keyboard. What am I? So yeah, so I'm not losing my sight here.
I mean, you do wear bifocals from time to time, I'm sure, right?
No.
You got readers?
He's not old enough yet.
Well, I had when I was 19, 20, I had LASIK done on my eyes.
Oh.
So I went from what was called 20 counting fingers, where you couldn't even, if the doctor was right over there, how many fingers am I holding up? I don't know, a hand, to all of a sudden I'm 20/15.
Was that direct energy in your eyes?
Pretty much.
Actually, it was direct energy in your eyes, allegedly. And the problem is, I could have had the same surgery, but the doctor goes, when you get to a certain point, age-wise, you may get halos. And I was like, no.
Mm-hmm.
This is the number one guy in the country doing the surgeries. I said, no.
The little halo circles that you see?
No, you get
the starbursts and stuff. Yeah, you can get that.
Oh, shit. You'll be magical.
No, it'll be effed up. That's what. No magic. You can't see shit, But my luck, I never did it because of my luck. The guy doing the surgery before it went all automated would have had got pissed off by his wife and damn her, and the laser would have went and what's going on, guys?
Well, the new system's a little bit better. The one I had, it was like a cigar cutter. You press down on your eye, they'd click it, and it would cut the corneal flap, and they'd pull that back, and then the laser they'd put a centering disc in there, and then the laser would zap. And once that was done, they would fold it back over, put a little solution on there, and as soon as they pull it off, your eye just clamps shut.
Yep.
But man, I'm telling you, besides the fact that it felt like somebody just kicked you in the eye, 2 times, because your eye was just it just hurt. But as soon as you opened it up, there was something about going from being completely blurry to holy crap, I could see everything. Crystal clear.
That's who I married? Oh my God, what the hell? I'm only joking. This is correct.
Hey, she still married me even after she said that. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I wanted, one of the things I wanted to do until they really perfected it was where they do the flap and then they put a little glass contact in instead. And this way you're not really cutting anything.
Yeah, they just put.
When you get older and you get cataracts, even though you should have bought a Lincoln, everybody goes through that eye surgery thing. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh,
and what happens is most older people have 20/20 vision at a certain point because they all have cataracts in there.
Yeah. There's pretty much with LASIK. I mean, there's always that thing. It's like, you could go blind. They're not cutting into your eye. There's nothing. I mean, it's basically pretty much the worst thing that could happen is nothing happens. And you just have this, you just got this discomfort while it's healing and you're back to wearing glasses. I mean, there really wasn't too much of a chance of anything being bad, like where you'd go blind. So, but it was just something, even to this day, it's just like I said, I still have really good vision. There's certain things like at nighttime, I do see a little bit of the star pattern on lights, but I don't have those big glowing halos.
Yeah. I mean, eventually it'll be really perfected where they can get rid of those little artifacts as well. And then everybody he's talking to his sister and he's a mile away. I'm looking at him right now, Yeah. That's when it'll be wonderful.
That's as we get closer to the singularity, that'll be so. Yeah,
I swear
pretty much. I was just thinking we could go back to the time, the history of the direct energy weapon, how it was developed. While I was hunting, I was pecking around on my keyboard trying to do it. I'm trying to find the guy's name. He was the whistleblower from the Antarctic. He worked on the station there.
Yeah, I can see his face, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah, everybody's a lot of people. If you're in this circle, you've seen the clip where he said, "I had keys to every room," and you don't, you know, there's things that you don't even understand what we have. He talked about the devices planted in the ice field, which act as a an energy weapon, and that's one of the references to it. There's been longest time the rumor has been HARP has that its true use is to direct weather, to direct these to where you can cause these natural disasters.
Eric
Like
Hecker.
Eric, okay, yep, that's it. So yeah, he's the one. And I think in that one, didn't he name the New Zealand disaster as one of the uses of that?
He named a couple of
I
different.
think it was Christchurch, wasn't it? Christchurch, New Zealand. That earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been playing around with this technology for a very long time, and it started out with a system HARP, and it's all based off of HARP, and now HARP can be outfitted on a vehicle and can do exactly what they want it to do, be it a microwave burst, laser-based burst. It totally disrupts your clouds. It can hey Shane, it can change weather patterns. There's a lot it does. And then from there they always were looking for space weapons. Once Ronald Reagan was in office, prior to him, the whole Star Wars thing where they were going to put lasers on satellites. And it's really interesting. If you ever seen a movie called Real Science, Val Kilmer is in it.
Sounds familiar.
Or Real Genius. Sorry, Real Genius. That was it. Real Genius.
Yeah,
they were working on this type of weapon. This is what they were working on.
Predictive programming is what that was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
allegedly.
Yeah, well, a lot of shows like that. And that's one of the things. I mean, we could talk. Like you said, we'll talk. I guess we could talk a little bit about those things too. And this is one of the leads up. Like one of the ones that kind of, and my wife pointed this out to me too. And I hadn't really even. I honestly hadn't been paying attention too much to the details. I knew that there was wildfires going on in Maui. I knew that this disaster, like a lot of people, homes were destroyed. But she was pointing out too, it's one of those things that it was really weird. There was places where the fire was so hot, tires were basically completely burned off. The vehicles are almost melted to the asphalt. And right across the sidewalk from these cars is a perfectly green tree.
See, this is why.
And that's one of the things. It's like that thing. You're like, okay, if it's this hot, you're still going to have heat damage. You're going to have something that's So how is it possible that you're going to have this green space or that was where the theories came in, that there might have been something allegedly nefarious and that's where a lot of people are throwing out the conspiracy of the direct energy weapon was used on here on Lahaina. And so one of the things was, I always do the W questions, the whys, who, what, when, why. The question would be, well, why? Why would this be a target? Well, this is a playground for the wealthy. The wealthy have wanted this property forever.
It's more than that. By the way, speaking of, may I interject for 2 seconds because you're talking about wealthy, right?
Yeah.
I have a list right here, and I'm going to read it. Lady Gaga has a luxury mansion in Maui. It's completely fine. Bill Gates has a luxury mansion in Maui. It's completely fine. Morgan Freeman has a luxury mansion and it's completely fine. Will Smith has a luxury mansion in Maui. It's completely fine. Julia Roberts' mansion in Maui is fine.
Now, were they near Lahaina though?
It's all in Maui, Lahaina. Yep. That's where you want to be. Have you been to, you have the Hawaiian behind you. I've been
to Oahu. I've never my wife's been to Maui when she was younger, but I've never actually been to that island. No.
I spent a honeymoon there. I did the Big Island, Maui, and then Oahu. So you kind of tear it up. Lahaina was an awesome, fun, wonderful place. Lots of tourism, lots of wealthy people, obscenely wealthy people, because The people that are native Hawaiian, they don't want you to have their land. There's a lot of disrespect going on between all these people buying property and not respecting the laws, the Hawaiian culture and everything about it. And everybody wants, they want to expand their property. I mean, one of the biggest, guiltiest guys on the planet is Zuckerfucker, who he's just been screwing around with people the wrong way. And I don't care if he does MMA, you know, on a mat. And MMA, you know, I think it stands for man ass. In regards to him, but these people are screwing around, and it is a known fact. And this has been like this for years. The Hawaiians that are there don't want anybody taking their land. They are not going to sell it to commercial property. They ain't doing any of that. And there's laws in place that prevent the government from doing something until just now.
Well, that was the thing too, because that was part you let it up pretty nicely there, because that's what I was getting to. There's laws against being taken, but they can sell it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. They can sell off their rights to this thing. And that's where we get into part of the response thing. That's where those things where there's all this property they couldn't get to. Well, we have, for anybody that's never been to Hawaii or really paid attention, most people are listening right now. On average, most of us have a house somewhere around $300,000 to $400,000. That's kind of like, it would be would be a fairly safe average across the area. That house, a 1,500 square foot house over in this area is $800,000 to $900,000.
Lahaina?
That's what. No, I'm just saying. Like, I'm not talking a nice house. I'm talking a shack. I'm just talking like a rundown place. You're looking at least $800,000 or $900,000 for a 1,500 square foot place. This is tiny. So you have these families now. This thing's leveled. Everything's gone. And so now you have the government response. We're not even going to get into whether or not they did it fast enough, or, like I said, Biden didn't give them enough. I was like, they offered them, I want to say it was right around $700. It was a one-time, kind of
try to get by with
funding thing for them. Well, that $700 isn't even going to cover a third of a rent cost for anything around there, like a one-bedroom place in that area. They can't live on that. So they're only going to be faced with one option now.
Selling.
They've got to sell because they can't afford to live anywhere.
Look,
they're either going to live like a homeless for months until government gets around to giving them, the ability to rebuild, through insurance, if they even had it. So this thing is just completely level. So now these people are going to be displaced through potentially it could be a direct action. It could just be a prime opportunity from a natural disaster. They were able to, capitalize on it. As Emmanuel said, never let a good crisis go to waste. But that's the thing is, did you guys see the response from the government officials that came in, the investigators? They said it could be months before they truly know if there's any toxic, chemicals in the ground that's going to prevent. You can see the pieces already being placed that are going to prevent these native, people from being able to stay on this property. They're not going to be able to. You basically are watching in real time the forced relocation of an indigenous people from their land out.
I'm gonna go off the rails right now, which is fine. I don't care. Okay. There was a conference in Hawaii not that long ago about smart cities and being all electric and grid based. And the governor of Hawaii, that's what his plan was. And the only way to get that done, they want to be the first one to be a smart city, electronic city, everything electric. I mean, they're showing your cards to you right then and there. Mm-hmm. You can say allegedly all you want. This is premeditated murder, because the majority of people that were home that day were the elderly and were kids. The kids are home from school. Hundreds, if not thousands of people are been murdered by whoever controlled those DEWs. And I'm sorry, but I'm not allegedly anything.
Oh yeah, no, it's well, that's the
Precision.
thing. It's mainly for YouTube's thing, like I said, because
No.
they're going to be like, you're pay-
I'll be the
yeah,
bad
no,
guy.
I get it. That's the thing. It's Nikola Tesla. Thing is, that's exactly it. When you actually start looking at these things,
Yeah.
you can see the design behind it. Because I mean, it doesn't matter what everybody that's listening right now. Everybody has a poorer area in the town that you live in. Where we live at close by, we have this area called the East Side. The East Side is these houses here. If something like this happened, like in that area, majority of the people there cannot afford to rebuild a house. They can't afford to relocate. They can't afford any of this stuff. So if the governor of the state you live in was to come up and say, hey, I really feel here's $700. We hope this helps. Most people now, that won't even get you a 1-bedroom slum apartment.
Yeah.
Let alone enough for a family of 3, 4. And that's the thing, is just, this is, you have people like, they say, well, what about these things? You can clearly see this is desired area. So now what's going to happen is you're going to have these BlackRock, you're going to have these other corporations that are going to come in, and they're going to be like, you know what, guys, we feel so bad for you. Here's what we're going to do for you. We'll give you some relocation money. Here's some we're going to throw some cash in here. We just sell us this piece of land that you can no longer do anything with, that is just burned. You can't afford it. You're going to lose it anyway, because, most likely a regulation is going to come down that's going to require a cleanup, that's going to require something to be done, to beautify the property. You have nothing. This is like asking a homeless person to pay for a landscape crew to come in and take care of the property they're laying on. They don't have the money.
FAFO, and this is what's going to happen here. Okay, pardon the expression. Fuck around and find out. They have no idea about what the Hawaiians are capable of.
It's my favorite.
And I'm going to predict that they're going to go King Kamehameha on their asses. They're not giving up their property. They will shoot their way out, and they will die as warriors. And let me tell you something.
I think some would, yeah.
The Hawaiians, they were cannibals. They've got plenty to eat on that island. Okay? Oprah's pretty fucking big. And they'll eat her too. And they will not stop until they prove their point.
Well, that's the thing is, but also in the same point, it's like, have you ever heard the term the Bubba effect?
The Bill Clinton effect.
But it was right after that. It was coming right at the time that George W. Bush and Barack Obama was in there. What the powers to be want is they want the Bubba effect. They want to put pressure, and then they want Bubba to just snap and go off, and then it gives them an excuse to crack down. Mm-hmm. And that's one of those things is like, no matter what, it's like, even the thing is, as a group, you can stand for a little while, but if there's only just a few of you, eventually you will crack against a mighty thing. And that's what they said. In a way, I bet you there are some people that want the scenario that you laid out. They want people to fight back, because then it gives them an excuse to forcibly remove people.
I'm just gonna state it this way. It started in California a couple years ago. There was a beam. There were beams equally. There's a guy named Dutch Sense. Go watch him on YouTube. And he is the one that is
supposedly there.
What?
Oh, I was answering a question. When is FEMA arriving? They're supposedly there.
FEMA is in every state. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But on site, they're supposedly there.
I trust them like I trust truck driver sushi in Death Valley.
No, you mean gas station sushi?
No, truck driver sushi, totally different. You don't want it.
Yeah. No, this isn't something you get at the Quick and Go.
No. That's even better at the gas station. So, all these massive fires that are coming out, they're trying to put out a narrative of climate change so that they can force people out of the rural areas into a 15-minute city. They did it in Canada. That is the plan, because a lot of Canadians are not in the cities. So they burn them out, forcing them back into a situation. Oh, well, you'll seek shelter here and it'll be a 15-minute city. They are trying to do whatever they have to do to get people to comply. And if you consider what they did and how they lied to everybody the last couple of years about stuff, and it's all coming out now, and you still trust this government to be telling you the truth, you have a problem.
Did you see this?
What?
He posted this. I got to look into it, but it looks like the same guy that was involved in the Vegas shooting is the sheriff in that same location.
He's the chief of police, and yes, he was involved in it.
So this is the thing. So this is where you could really easily
You mean the
fall
Vegas
down.
shooter?
Yeah, this is the one. He was the sheriff of during the same time as with the Vegas shooter. So if that is the case, then does that take you down the rabbit hole? Was this the fault? You get the whole false flag that was this an op? Because it's one of those. We need to revisit that too, because I'm one of those. There's so many questions that have gone unanswered over that Vegas shooting.
Oh, I have pictures, and I wish I could share them with you.
There's so many things. I don't want to get too sidetracked, because me and Chris talk about this every now and then. It's like you're in Vegas. There's cameras everywhere, and we don't have a single photo of him bringing all these weapons up into the room.
No.
You should look like you're getting ready to film, a series of porn shots in the hotel room with all the equipment that would have had to been carted up there.
I'm going to put it this way. I was given access to photos by the very first people that were in that room. The team that went in. Okay? After it was locked up to this guy's room. There was blood on the floor, and there were fresh shells left on top of the floor that had no blood on them. The blood was dried a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stage scene. The guy was a patsy. Okay? And you've been there and you've seen some of the keys to all of this are not what the MSN is showing you. It's the little videos here and there. The taxi driver that can see in his rear view mirrors, side mirrors, that someone is shooting from a lower level. You can see the gunfire coming out at night. The fire from the long rifle, not from all the way on top of the penthouse. Now, I have somebody that was there videotaping at the concert. It really messed him up. Post-traumatic stress syndrome. And I'm not saying that there wasn't bullets flying, but these people will do whatever they want to get whatever they want.
Well, we could talk about it, because that's the thing. It's just for most people that say, the ones that say these things didn't happen. It's okay. 9/11, people really died. It's just the one, like whenever somebody questions these things, it's not so much the fact that people died. It's the fact of what's the narrative that's being put out there. It's the same way with like this Vegas shooting. People aren't, anybody that claims that nobody died in this thing, it was all a false flag thing. They're idiots, because people know people who were killed. It's just, I mean, people that were there, you're there to listen to a country music concert. You're there to just have a good old time, drink some overpriced beer, dance with your special someone. You're not expecting to suddenly hear pop, 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 and watch the person next to you turn into red mist and fall. I mean, that's going to screw you. That's going to mess you up. But the thing is, the narrative that one dude went up to a room and he created all this chaos is the same thing. It's like, it doesn't match up with the reports. They're like, it was sounded like they were all around us.
Because so when getting back to when there was shooting taking place, which they said came from the hotel. No one reported about the shooting. There was a mall around the back that there were shootings going on there. There was shooting in the distance. People reported, and there are videos that recorded different locations. They also recorded a black, darked out helicopter, and with fire coming, gunfire coming from it.
There's a sponsor guy.
There's our sponsor guy.
Hopefully still with us after this episode.
Yeah. There's a lot of magical coincidences taking place.
Yeah. That's, so we won't get too caught up on the Vegas one here. We'll have to do a show on that again, update one, because there's, like I said, there's a lot about that, and that's because it's the same thing here. Just like getting back to the Maui thing, there is just something. Can we pinpoint and say these people did this, did this? No, we can't do this. All we know is that there is these circumstances that they don't make sense. Why was nobody warned when the fires were approaching the town? That whole system should have been blaring. Evacuate
off the roadway so people could escape.
Yeah.
But what they said is that system's not for that. So maybe they didn't have the authority to use that system.
No, the emergency alert system didn't work. Nothing.
Yeah, but they said that emergency alert system is not for wildfires. So
No, we have an emergency. So anytime there's like you said, even here, if we were to have, even when we have hurricanes here, the emergency alert system goes off.
But that's our emergency alert system. But theirs, they said it wasn't for wildfires or nothing like that. It's for tsunamis. So is the people who were reporting the tsunamis, did they actually get the information of the wildfires? Did they actually know about the wildfires? Because they're saying that the emergency alert system is only for tsunami purposes. That's what they were allegedly quoting.
I'm going to let you in on something about this, the buoy alerts, that where the tsunamis are supposed to come. That's where you detect it. Whenever there's a really bad storm or something to that effect that would possibly produce tsunamis, even with earthquakes, you can go look it up online. All the buoys that are out there, the buoys that are floating in the ocean, a large majority of them are shut off. They shut them off. Why would you shut off an alert system? Why would you do that? Unless you have a plan to get rid of a lot of people, right?
Yeah, that's part of the thing. It's just these things, the safeguards, it's kind of just like Epstein. You have a area where it shouldn't happen, but yet all of a sudden he offs himself. It shouldn't be able to occur. Yeah. It's like you have these safeguards, and it's like all these things, regardless of what rabbit hole you want to go down to, just people, like, after a while, even if you don't believe any of this, if you honestly ask yourself, when you place everything on top of each other, how can you not start to think, why did this happen? This shouldn't have happened. None of this should have occurred. Like you said, why were roads blocked off? Why weren't people warned? Even the police should have been blaring on the speakers. You've got to get out of your house now. I come from Oregon. We have forest fires all the time. We had door to door. We had the sheriff coming, knocking on the door to ensure that the house was evacuated. Because we got the alert, evacuate the house. Emergency came, said, dangerous wildfire approaching. You were instructed to leave immediately. And if you choose, like Katrina, when that hurricane hit, if you choose to stay, you're on your own. Nobody's coming for you. You can wave your arms all you want to on the roof. You were told to evacuate. You didn't get out. Now you're stuck. In the same way with these fires, if you stayed, nobody's coming to save you.
I didn't say I didn't agree with you, but what I'm just saying is.
Oh no, and that's what
allegedly. That's what.
Well, that's
but the police have been right.
Yeah, I get it, but it's one of it's the same thing. Even the people there, you look out your window. There's a roaring inferno. I said, there's so many things that when you start going, think, how the hell did this happen? It wasn't like this fire went from here to here in less than a minute. It's coming, and nobody was getting out.
You're right.
It happened by design, by the powers that be, because they want to rid people from this planet. Allegedly.
They figured the thing wasn't working fast enough.
It wasn't. They got caught. You don't understand. That whole plan 2 years ago, they screwed up. They screwed the pooch. Okay? They got caught. And now all this stuff is coming out. These people are going to hang from trees eventually. And the people that still believe the narrative are going to be, but they said they were here to help us. Like whatever. They're going to lose their minds over this stuff. Their plan didn't work. They're backing into a corner right now. The next narrative and next step, they're speeding up their timeline. So it's not the 2030 now, it's 2025, I believe, right? They're speeding it up. And when in the history of you being alive have you seen the forest fires, the wildfires that you've seen in Canada, in California, in Maui? When have you ever? I mean, I asked a friend of mine who grew up on the Virgin Islands. He says, "Yeah, it does happen." When you never hear of this, you never see of these reports. Don't get me wrong. Hurricane Sandy in New York, a whole 2 rows of streets of houses went on fire by accident because they all agreed, dude, we're going to lose everything here. They all turned the gas on. You can't prove it. They turned the gas on. It all blew up. And now they got all full money back. And then they can do whatever they want with it. These people, this has been happening in Greece, in Italy, in France. Every freaking country is going through this right now. It's unprecedented.
Well, that's kind of where it just it really does look like a land grab, and that's one of those things, is because it just goes back to, it's like, regardless of your personal feelings on this, after a certain point, even though you're pissed and you don't want to give it up, at some point you got to eat, at some point you got to sleep, and if all you have is a burned patch of ground, there's nothing. You have nothing. And that's where it is. It's like, so now when Bill Gates or some corporation comes up and says, here's the check we're going to give you, free and clear, we're going to just buy this off of you. When you're desperate, you don't have another option. You can't afford to live.
I disagree with that. Like, I mean, they already hundreds of pounds of spam. So they'll get a tent. Them people are very strong.
Well, no, that's all gone. That's what I said. They don't have that there. They don't. Well, that's the thing. But who's bringing in who's bringing in the supplies?
FEMA, churches.
No, they're not. This is the problem. We got a call from Grand Lodge about donating and donations. So there's a whole network of brethren that are doing their best to send money that way. Here's the problem. All the people that are donating, and there's tons and tons and tons of donations, it's all being put on hold and not distributed. The Red Cross will not distribute it.
Are you serious?
I'm deadly serious. They will not allow it in.
And like I said, unlike, how the Fast and Furious movie tried to portray it, The Rock running up with a big chain isn't going to be able to loop it around the helicopter and take it down. As I said, there's only just so much you can do. And that's why I said, when you've lost everything, there's only just so much you can get before you reach your breaking point. And that's why I said, I get where you're talking about. It's like, there are going to be people that want to stand up. People would stand up for your property, but at a certain point, even the strongest crack. Everybody has their breaking point.
You're talking about 90% of these people we're talking about that are native to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are natives. They have family members that live off the land. They know how to live off the land. They may not want to live off the land, but I guarantee you, this is. I really do feel deep inside. This is like the Archduke Ferdinand, assassination. This is going to be a catalyst that starts. Call it a revolution. Call it a civil war. People are going to wake up and they're going to start fighting this. They are not going to allow it. They picked the wrong area to do it. New Orleans, when they did Nolans, when they did that there, that was the first tell they don't give a goddamn about anybody. Okay, you can get away with this crap in New Orleans, in Alabama, unless you have a chair.
Yeah, Nolans was a failure on all sides.
That was done purposely.
Well, that's the thing. Like I said, but the mayor too, because like I said, he intentionally grounded the entire fleet of school buses to help there because he didn't find that was dignified way of getting out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell
you.
So
that's why all those buses were underwater and not used, is because that's not an appropriate way to get people out. This wasn't dignified enough. It's like, no, you needed to get people out of here. And
the bottom line is, I don't give a damn who you are. I don't care what race, creed, and color you are. All these people that are politicians, 99.998%, they're on the take. They're in bed with all these people. They're being blackmailed on the other end of it, and they will do whatever they have to do to be good, whatever, Oompa Loompas, and take care of, well, we won't bring the buses in or whatever, and be promised stuff. They'll never get it. That's what I'm telling you. Did you see the governor of Hawaii? With a smirk on his face, like a smile, when he's talking about all this crap. How dare?
There's just some weird things. It's like not even on the politics side. It was just, here's this thing's going on Maui. If Trump was in office, this would have been wall to wall. Every news channel would have been running it. Biden was on the beach, hanging out, like it was a vacation day, and when asked about a response, his response is no comment.
Yeah.
These are things. If this had been 4 years ago, it would have been wall to wall, just people would have been losing their mind. And right now it's the same thing. It's just like you said, you can tell the politicians it's not, if it doesn't serve the narrative or it doesn't something like this, they don't really care. It's not really that big of a deal.
If this was a former president, I can tell you what would have taken place. He would have been there as soon as it happened, as fast as he can get there. They would have gotten him there. The military would have been called out. There'd be food, there'd be water, there'd be temporary shelters built, and he would give the money to rebuild it exactly how it was. And not only that, the guy would get it done quicker than anybody else. I've seen how that other guy operates. What's taking place right here, I'm so frustrated as a human being.
For fair time too, there's a chance he might have been throwing paper towels too. Fair is fair on both sides. Like I said, that was not a great look when he went to Puerto Rico to help out. It's like you're there, terrible. But when you start lobbing paper towels like it's footballs and stuff like that, it's just you get where the spirit was, but it's one of those that's one of those moments where if we can take this one back, we probably should have. This is probably like the Marie Antoinette,
Yeah.
Let them eat cake. Here's your paper towel.
Did anybody think to tell him that was going to be a PR nightmare?
Yeah, that's what I said. We're gonna
PR nightmare.
This isn't a love one side and bash the other side. This is in all fairness, they have their slip ups, but it's just my point was, if Trump had been on the beach while Hawaii is burning, everybody would have seen it. Everybody would have been losing their minds. I mean, there probably would have been another impeachment process.
Yeah.
It's the same. And but this is the thing. It's just, you can see, and that's what I was getting with this, like with Biden, you can see that there's possibly something going on because this is an uber wealthy, playground. And you can see if your buddies in the elite circles are after this property, the last thing you're wanting to do is bring up, is put focus on the plight of the people that you're trying to relocate. You're basically just like, I'm just not going to say anything, and we're going to let my buddies at these mega places come in and kind of help them sweep up the debris and build their mega mansions.
So I'm gonna say something here that I'm gonna state that I don't give a shit about the alleged whatever. This was part of a DEW. And have you ever used a laser cutter?
Mm-hmm.
You've used a laser cutter.
Yeah, they're fun.
It is extremely fun. It is precision. The pattern of the destruction and the fact that you opened up with it, there are pieces of land on the coastline that are not touched. Big bucks, right? Big buck people. But everything else is within precision of it, being destroyed. Then if you take an energy weapon like that, you're talking about part of this is harnessing the power of the sun. They have a program called it's called Thor and Hammer. I talked about it when a couple the observatories were shut down a couple of years ago, and it was right next to the Los Alamos. And what they use is they use HARP. The way it's supposed to work is there's 3 components. That's one of the aircraft that has lasers on it, DEWs. Okay, but what they can do is shark with lasers. Thanks, Dr. Evil.
It's airplanes with laser beams attached to their heads.
They have
They're ill-tempered planes.
call it preparation H. So from what has been reported by a third party, it's on audio, and I'll find the audio for you guys. Somebody who worked at this facility. This is a bunch of years ago. We have the ability to literally draw the energy off of the sun and pinpoint it wherever we want.
With the magnifying glass?
No, they use HARP. They use HARP and a thing called Thor and Hammer, and they're acronyms for the programs.
It's a simplistic way to say it, but Chris, but yes, it would be like the simple concept of like a magnifying glass with with the focusing. It takes it. I mean, almost the picture for anybody that watched Star Wars. It's like when the Death Star gets ready to shoot, and you see the things just kind of cold, where they come to the single point and then they fire out. That's kind of what it does. It harvests it, focuses it, and then shoots.
We need to get that sound effect.
What sound? You haven't played any sound effects
The
lately?
the Death Star shit.
We need that. Like that.
Yeah. And it shoots. Yeah. But yeah, I see that plane. It's like, we expect $1 million, or we're going to fire a laser beam at your head.
$1 million.
Yeah, it's yeah. So that's one of them. I'm trying to find that one for.
Can you play the video that they're showing where the power line allegedly went down, and it was on the news today? Can you find it? Because it just looks like something came from the sky. It didn't look like power lines. Through some trees. It just like some shit.
Posted something to the chat that we have. Not the Chupacabra thing. I think I posted it to the
Chupacabra.
Yeah, did you see it in the main chat? I posted my Chupacabra thing.
Chupacorn on the Cabra. Yes.
Dude, it's yeah, it's good. It's really good. But
my new meme is when I don't know what you're talking about, I just smile. No, yes. No, she can do it English.
What do you get? Consuela from Family Guy?
Well, I usually when I'm just not in the mood to deal with anybody, so I'm like, hey buddy, you can't do that. I'm like, excuse me, I don't speak English, and I just walk away.
Yeah, here's another. Here's another view of that plane.
I posted a couple of pictures online on the.
So are you saying it's a giant magnifying glass, Greg?
That is a targeting. That is a laser target. There's.
Yeah, no, that doesn't. This one, the plane doesn't harvest like the sun and then focus it out. No, the specs on it. They're not really. I can't bring up like a blueprint on it, but basically, they're just like.
I'm going to do that right now.
Brian said. It basically creates the high-powered laser, and you can actually, as it flies, it can direct shot.
Yep, it can do all that stuff. I actually have.
It does look like a praying mantis.
It does. I'm going to try to open that file. Just give me 1 second here.
I really missed you guys the last 2 days, last 2 weeks.
Well, someone was.
We've been here. Everybody's been playing hooky. He's been out there playing football while Ginger Squatch is out sniffing trees.
Ginger Squatch. Hold on, I'm going to share this right here, and then you'll understand.
Okay, that's awesome right here. It's like Chupacabra was big in the late 90s, and then MAL came back. You're right, a lot of sucking going on in the 90s.
A lot of it. I just shared something with
you. 4
ways
ways in one.
Yeah. Tell me if I have to make it bigger, but that's a nose-mounted turret. Is a beam control system, active laser range deployment.
Yep.
Battle management, crew. You know, there's a lot.
Basically, it does. They don't show you all the tech behind how it does, but basically it's kind of like if you had like you were talking about that like fire starter with the laser. It would be like that, but then you have something in front where you're able to move it around and beam it directly to the shot that you want, and then so you could do burst shots. I mean, so we're literally on the doorstep of like laser fighter craft. You know that
Those
they're
aren't the
publicly
droids
announced.
for.
Well, that are publicly known.
Those were the droids we were looking for.
Yes.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I'm going to show you
This is the thing, Julie, about that. That's the thing. They're going to melt the glaciers, but at a certain point, you no longer have global warming. You will send us into a massive ice age like that. And that's the problem, is because the desalinization of the oceans, as it starts to lessen, it's going to cause the currents to alter. And then what that does is it stops circulating the warm water throughout the globe. And then you'll have just this rapid freeze. Just
Excuse me, Professor Craig, is this going to be on the final?
yes. So that's one of the misnomers that a lot of people, like you said, a lot of people have, where they're, you know, this thing about just like if they melt all the glaciers with this stuff. Well, at a certain point, you'll go from, I mean, you could honestly have your population reduction that way.
Did you see the other photo? Is it still up?
Yeah, the one where it shows all the shot, like
well, this is
all these lens flares.
These are lens flares, my ass.
I'm sorry, you've just shown me a collage of lens flares. Could you please show me some proof? Conspiracy, Brian.
Conspiracy boy. I wasn't prepared for this. I thought we were going to talk about the afterlife.
It's on the final, so hey, I'm just telling you.
Damn it!
If you can't answer this question, this might be your afterlife, sir.
I've seen the videos. Their camera. I've seen the game cams, and people are catching these things.
Did you just say gay cams?
No, game cams.
Oh.
You know, if you're gay, God bless you. Do whatever you want. That's not my tea party. Okay.
Like my meth pot.
Yeah, like your meth pots. Yeah, we're still got to come up with a T-shirt on that. And I still think like that Kilroy from the 40s. I still think somebody like poking their head over a pot, like Breaking Bad. He's got to have the Breaking Bad fedora, I think too. Just like the meth pot. Yeah.
You haven't called him by his new name. Craig.
Oh, Teddy Bear. I forgot to put that up on the screen.
Little Teddy Bear. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, allegedly, I'm giving you two of these.
Hey, it's one of those. It's one of those things where you can't pick your own nickname. Your nickname finds you. And it's
Devil's Advocate brought up something very interesting, and they said they will blame it on aliens. Mm-hmm. Just like, has anybody been paying
Project
attention
Bluebeam.
Crap going on in Peru with the face peelers?
Funny you said that. You know what they actually think it might be? Miners scaring off the truck.
Yeah.
Which in a way would make sense. If you're a superstitious people, all you'd have to do is pull off a little Scooby-Doo type operation, and you're going to have them all running around praying to Cristo.
It's old man.
It's not going to
from the White House.
Yeah, it's all you're going to have to do is just have a simple zip line with the go flying through, and everybody's going to be doing the sign of the cross and praying.
God. We need to do an episode where we all dress up as like some Scooby-Doo character. Like,
yeah,
I really don't want to be Thelma, but whatever.
Why don't I doubt that?
I don't want to be anything like that, but maybe I'll bust out an ascot.
Yep. Alan brought up, 3-beard underwear. The problem with that, it was always a joke, is that if we had the logo on there, Austin's beard would be perfectly placed.
Yes,
on the underwear. So it would end up looking like so it would have to be this interesting placement, or otherwise it's always going to be the ginger beard is going to be in the wrong spot.
Can we call it allegedly underwear?
Yeah, but hey, if you keep up with that whipped cream bottle, you're going to have to be Shaggy.
Where'd you get it at?
Like Zoinks, Amazon. You can buy drugs on Amazon, people. It's great.
It's not drugs. It's for making different whipped creams and stuff for using in your cooking and stuff. But no,
Exactly.
somebody has to use it the wrong
DIY.
way, which
It's
is
a
going to make
DIY.
chefs who want to buy these products have to sign a waiver.
No, it's oh god, it's so good. It was better in the yesteryear, but it's
So good when it touches your lips.
Oh my god, what did
When
I
it
do?
touches your tongue,
Yeah, all the kids here is Dad, what's going on in there? Nothing. I'm using underarm deodorant.
Yeah. Mom, Dad's hitting the whipped cream again.
Yeah. So
Why are there silver canisters everywhere?
greatest things ever.
You're walking around, all you hear is this clanking from all those little canisters all over the ground.
There you
what
go.
they cost?
Actually, it's not bad. Like 100 of them were like $25.
And how many of them are used?
No comment. You
You guys either eat a lot of desserts or we need to have an intervention.
No, actually, it doesn't cause brain hemorrhages. What it does is it totally kills your central nervous system.
Oh yeah, that's better.
Next question.
It's not bleeding, but you can't feel anything anyway.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no, I only did it once, I swear.
Head sniffing paint again. Looks like I picked the wrong day to stop clipping, snorting glue.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
These laser beams are freaking scary. I mean, it's
well, they are. It's there's some of the pictures. Yes, I could buy the claim that it's a lens flare on the photo. You could definitely see where somebody, like when you get the expert out there, you can make the claim, because unfortunately there's one, I think it was like in the center of that one, you could see the sun up in the sky. So that one would be one that you would see on CNN. No, this is you have the expert on there. These are just lens flares. But the ones that you can't are the other ones where it's clearly it's not in the right position on camera. It's not all these things. But that's one of the things that it's so critical when people do these things. You realize people will pick apart the one little thing, and that taints everything that's on that same picture. Because if somebody would allow that one, it shows a bias, and that they can use that against the rest.
You gave the Vicini line. It's just a fisherman on a pleasure cruise in eel-infested waters. You know, when he's trying to get to the cliffs of insanity.
Yeah, and that's that's exactly what it is. And that's one of those. In a way, it's always guarding yourself on these things. It's like even these pictures. It's like you got to look at these things, because anybody that's a doubter, anybody that's wanting to disclaim it, even just the slightest slip up, everything becomes tainted by that one thing. That's why it's so critical. Like when you guys are looking at these things, watch what you share. Make sure that you see it before you just share it out, because if it is a fake, then right there, you're immediately cast in as then if you're unwilling to do the research for that, everything else that you've done is in question.
It's bullshit.
I've posted stuff that is 100% true.
Yep.
People have called it a fake, right? And
I just do it to bust your balls.
Proven true. I'm trying to find the video I have.
I don't call
Here it
it. I
is.
call
Oh
bullshit.
God, yes, I have it. Thank you, Lord.
Yeah, it's just so it's one of those. No, I was just messing with them on those. Those ones are a compilation of the shots where you can really see it, and it's just even if I've heard people claim, well, it was just lightning or something like that. When have you ever seen a lightning bolt come straight down? I mean, like a perfect linear line. I mean, these ones, they look like they are a trace around from the sky. This thing looks rods from God. I mean, I'm not sure what it is.
Rods
Whether it's
from God.
yeah,
That's a
you
good
know what that is, right, Chris?
No, fucking.
That was part of like the Star Wars program. They put them up there. It would fire a metallic rod at the ground.
Had to be some Star Wars shit. You know, I don't follow Star Wars.
No, Star Wars is from the U.S. government with Ronald Reagan.
Oh, yeah, that's before my time. I was an
Okay.
80s baby.
Do we have a minute and 8 seconds?
Yes.
Okay.
Now we have a minute and
I
6.
want to share 2 things for you. Okay. A little bit over a minute, 8 seconds. Now, I wish I could get the exact video file. I had it, but I freaking have
He missed that.
Oh, he missed that? Okay.
No. When you said, do we have a minute 8 seconds? I said yes. Okay. Now we only have a minute 6.
Okay. 5. Well, hurry up. still here. Tell me when it's on because my stuff is a little bit slow.
It's up right now. I'm going to wait for a second. Let it catch up for you.
He's using carrier pigeon as internet.
All right, I got up on the screen now.
Okay, pay attention.
All right.
Oh,
See that?
Now, this is one, and I want you guys to watch this one too. It was the same thing I asked my wife when I looked at it. When everybody can bring it, if you can bring that picture up, if everybody wants to zoom in closely and see it. Now the traffic, the part that I was questioning about this,
traffic doesn't stop.
That nobody in the traffic stops, and it's like if something exploded like that in front of me, I'm not driving like a drunk person just fell over in a chair and I see it every day. I'm like, hell no, I am not going straight. That was a reference for Chris, for anybody that.
I'm going to tell you straight up.
I was completely sober. My camera in my front of my house.
He says that all the time. But how many of us, when we're completely sober, just sit there in a lawn chair and then just randomly lean back and just keep going like we're falling? It's like dead bug. He's just, his arms are right there like this. He's like, and he's like, I was completely sober. The hell you were.
So my camera is like it catches all, it sees all. It got the neighbor's cars getting totaled. That video is up on, I think, our TikTok. But our neighbor's cars got totaled by a lady that hit them. And then I fell out the chair. I blew myself up and caught myself on fire with some ether. I was spraying ether on something to clean it. And I decided to try to fire it up. And the shit blew up. So now I'm on fire. And I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah, we got to put them both. Yeah, he's like the drunk college student that does something dumb. You're watching him do it. It's like, what are you doing? What happens when you spray something explosive into something and then you plug it in? What do you think might happen?
I sprayed that shit good with ether. I'm like,
he's looking at a 9-volt battery. You know what? Like when you said about the traffic portion of the program, I can tell you, as born and raised in New York City, there's a lot of stuff that takes place that everybody would, a lot of people not from New York would be like, holy crap. And we're like, move it. I got to get to work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the only thing, because that was the one part that stuck out to me. Because if it's fake, they did a really good job with the explosion.
These are a collection of them. There's a couple of collections with a blue beam, and these are legit. These are things that have been caught before. It's okay, allegedly. It's 1 minute 8 seconds. Now we only have 3 minutes. And you gotta be careful how you post these.
Why does that emoji swirling around? It's funny when it looks like that looks almost exactly like the World Cup trophy.
That's rigged too.
Yeah, if anybody's seen the World Cup trophy, let me, let's watch this World Cup. Let me know. That's what it looks like right now. It's like the spinning World Cup trophy.
Something that we just passed here is you have all these birds on the cars, and birds or wildlife know when something strange is taking place within frequencies in the atmosphere, and they will they'll seek shelter elsewhere. Matter of fact, before the what the heck was it called? The tsunami they had. Oh my God, over in Asia, all the animals started running up, towards the mountain region. They just all vacated. For as smart as we claim to be, a lot of the times, it's like we are just absolutely dumb. When you're sitting there on the beach and you see even the turtles saying, F this, and they're crawling away as fast as they can, and you're watching everything. You're like, Mom, why are all the birds flying away? At some point, you should think there might be something I need to pay attention to. And
you run towards it.
Everybody else is like, they're like, you'll watch these videos, like all of a sudden the water flies away from the beach, and they're like, oh my God, let's go check this out. It's like, that's not supposed to do that. Well, it's like that's the time that you've got a brief moment to run.
This is part of the reason why they want to depopulate this planet.
Oh yeah,
and I apologize to people but there's a stupid factor.
Well, there really is. I mean, it's as much as like the tragedy.
Yeah.
If anybody's ever seen, there is a thing called the Darwin Award.
Yeah.
As bad as it is, and that's one of those. That's one of those things. It's just there's certain things like common sense is just like this thing. If you look out your window and you're trying to figure out, man, there is something glowing off there in the distance. You might want to figure out, why do I smell a barbecue? That might be the time to get your stuff and get out. But a lot of people, there's a lot of people they don't put these together. It's tsunamis, or there's just a lot of things that they can't, they can't figure. It is as tragic as it is. I mean, it's just like anything. It's like when you live in a earthquake zone on the beach, you have a much higher probability that something bad is going to happen to you. And that's, and it's an implied risk when you live. It's just the same way. It's just like us. We live here in Florida. There's an implied risk that we're going to get hit by a massive hurricane.
Yeah.
We take this risk. Obviously, somebody who lives in Montana doesn't have as much of a risk from a lot of these natural disasters other than wildfires and stuff. But they don't have, and just everywhere has these problems, but it's just like anything else. If you live amongst the trees, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get caught in a wildfire. It's going to happen. I mean, it's just, we lived it when I was in Oregon.
Here's the problem with these wildfires. Okay. The trees are still there. There's a lot of trees still there. Actually, the big banyan tree that was in the center of.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy. And it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense whatsoever.
My wife said that. She's like, oh man, the banyan tree. I'm like, I know. I said, and then when you see that, there's a guy that had a video. Yeah, the guy, he comes up with a bike and he's like, oh man, the tree's still here. And you're like, if you look at the distance, there's a car that's completely torched.
Don't get me wrong. Wildfires, I've been in the area. I mean, I know what the area looks like. And I know that, do they have some trees and whatever there? Sure. But the amount of heat generated, I'm not a fire guy, and I'm not one of those guys that respond to these things. I don't do tests with that stuff. I want to know from someone's personal perspective that has investigated arson, because I've heard a couple of people saying this has arson written all over it. It is extremely hot.
Mm-hmm.
Way too hot. That shit born hot.
Kind of like, and then Harolyn was in there, and she sent me something. I haven't gotten to watch it yet, Harolyn, but there's a relationship. I wish you can put it in there to a 9/11 type of relationship. I think this occurred at 8/11, if I'm correct. I don't remember what it was. Yeah, she mentioned some kind of relationship to that, and this is God bless you.
Rest in peace, headphone users. Holy.
This is
I tried to get to the mute button, but it wasn't working, and it just came out. I'm sorry.
Well, I was waiting for you to headbutt the camera as you tried to reach for it.
So, I mean, here we have an event. I really think they underestimated the resolve for these men and women, especially if you start killing kids. I'm really devastated that the majority of people there were children at home. They weren't evacuating. They had no idea to evacuate.
Yeah, that was the thing. It's like, where there was no, no system was going out. I mean, it's like when the first houses are going up on the outskirts, the police should have been going door to door, making sure that people were getting out.
Yeah.
And this wasn't happening. And that's what was weird. It was a failure on all levels.
There was another video. I think one of those guys, Carlito, I think he shared it from Golden Corral. Only joking, Carlito.
Probably.
And there was a person interviewing another person who was walking from the center of Lahaina out and saw all the cars there. Why aren't the cars moving? The fire is right here. Gets to the end of the line where it is towards the outside of town. There's a police officer there, and the police officer is not letting them through. He goes, "What are you doing? The fires are coming." He goes, "No, I'm following my orders. They told me not to let anybody through." You
Yeah.
kidding me? Are you're kidding me, right? How you can't use "I was following orders" anymore? Can't. Ever since World War II, you can't say "I was following orders."
Well,
Okay?
that's the thing is most people have forgotten.
Well, here's something to think about. If it was a DEW, someone had to target it, someone had to do recon on it, someone had to make sure it was working, someone had to push the button. So that tells me, since all this DEW stuff is military based, we have a coup within our military. If it comes down to that, right? That's high treason. We have bigger problems.
Or, that's assuming that it was done by Rogue. Rogan. There's a good chance that a lot of this stuff is done from direct orders.
It doesn't matter.
Because then it wouldn't. It would be direct violation of, like you said, it would be an assault on, we the
Human
people.
rights.
But it was like, I don't know if it would classify as high treason when it's following, when it's coming directly from
It's
those that we've put in power.
No, my whole point is, it's a subversive end of a. You're not legally allowed to target civilians. It goes against the Constitution, and anybody that does it, and anybody gives it,
Yeah, you can't target.
Act is committing high treason.
I would have to look at it though, but it's one of those things. I would bet you that somewhere from the Patriot Act on, that this is probably in a subsection.
The Patriot Act is neither a Patriot Act nor anything good.
Oh yeah, no, but just that legislation and the ones that followed it. I would bet you the legality part of this was probably covered in one of those sections. And if we actually looked in it, there would probably something that would classify this as,
Can I tell you where it goes back to? And I think it was his last term in office, Obama, during New Year's Eve, one year, maybe the last year, he signed a bill into law or an executive order, which gave the U.S. military permission to use drones against the American citizens.
So see right there,
I remember that.
right there. If that can probably then be precedence. So what you're just saying is like, then it is legal because it was passed in.
No, it's
abhorrent, but it would be.
It's an executive order, and it's only technically. Well,
that's one of the things. Like I said, this would be one of the. Unfortunately, now we're in that layer where the precedence has been set, even though the originality of the founders, what they intended, it's in violation of that. But we've slept on so much of this stuff happening that what it has done is we have let powers that should never have been given to entities. They have it now through these acts, even executive orders that have not been reined in by the legislative branch. They've given this power, they've ceded this power to the executive branch. Therefore, and that's one of the things that's the thing. It's even though to us it's abhorrent morally, we have allowed it to now become to where on the legality side, it would be something that it would be what we would, as bad as this term sounds, this thing could go down to splitting hairs. It's all a matter of semantics.
I hear what you're saying. It's still a violation of what was going on. I posted something to you guys. I think it was yesterday or was it today? I don't even remember. About
so much shit.
I posted a ton of stuff. I stopped really posting a lot of the political stuff because they
really can't win with it.
No,
and that's one of those.
My act up. So.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. It's like it's not really somebody gets it wrong. It's because like I said, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's that, but the problem is as we the people, we've slept on so much of this stuff now that there really is only one course of action that we have left to really rein this in, and that's a constitutional convention.
No,
That's, well, the other one is, unfortunately, the last 3 years have shown us we don't have the people for it.
No, I think you have.
You have some, but you don't have enough because there's not enough people that have the passion behind it.
Left are not capable of, if there was a conflict like Civil War, part two.
Yeah.
The left, you're not going to win. You're going to get your asses handed to you. You're ill prepared to take on this fight. Okay.
Absolutely.
The right on the other side, and if we have to go left and right, the people that are constitutionalists, a lot of the preppers and whatever, unfortunately, a lot of them are, like white supremacists, and they get into other really bad things. But they're being very restrained in their responses, but their patience is being tested. I posted these guys because I've gotten information, intel, from a variety of my sources, and usually when they're both pinging each other, they don't know each other, they're independent, but when they're both saying the same thing, it's a pretty damn good sign something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave them a warning that there are DEWs, that's direct energy weapons, right now that are facing Texas, Arizona, Montana, New Jersey, New Mexico, Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Florida, California, Nevada, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, and Oklahoma. I can't prove it, but after what's taken place recently,
yeah. I just have fear if anybody does that route, it's going to be a French Revolution. It's not going to be because we don't have enough people that have the same common goal. It's too fractured.
Now, I think the problem. I think what you're missing is, I have so many people on the Democratic side. I'm in the middle. I'm a Jeffersonian liberal, and what that is, it's more. I guess it leans libertarian.
Original libertarian.
Yeah, and what it means is government. You just make sure nothing bad happens to us. You'll get a little taste, and we get to live our lives. That's what basically what I meant. With a little help here and there, but not too much. There are people that I knew. I mean, if Adolf Hitler at the point was a Democrat, they would vote him into office because they're such staunch Democrats. And then there are people on the right that are such staunch Republicans. These people are waking up. I see this report all the time on a daily basis from people I do know that I can confirm it with. I'm like, really? He said that? Like, yeah, he did. And people that are just reporting it about their spouses, they're waking up and they said, these people are, I can't trust any of them. They're attacking people. They're trying to get somebody they must be so afraid of the guy that was formerly there. They're trying every which way to stop him. I'm not saying he's an angel, by the way. Okay. He's not the second coming. But I think people have had enough. And when you push people to a point where they finally realize they're being targeted for death, you only got one option.
Well, that's what I mean. It's just, but unfortunately, everybody's got a different. They don't have all these groups like you talked about. They don't have the same goal. That's the problem. When we had the American Revolution, the goal was separation from the king. 3%. The freedom. 3%. Well, that's what I said. You had that, but everybody, those 3% had a common goal. We don't have that now. You have some that want to get out of the taxes. They have some people that don't like this. They have some people that don't like this. There isn't a commonality between all of those people, and that's what happens when you do that. It fractures.
There is now. They're targeting you for death.
To a point.
People in Hawaii. They've targeted people through Canada coming down. They targeted people over in Ohio with a train spill. They targeted all these different locations. I'm telling you, people are waking up.
All that stuff has went to the wayside lately. I haven't seen much of that. They haven't been talking about Ukraine war no more.
And that's kind of that.
It's not winning.
That's really like almost, Chris. You kind of summed up kind of where I was getting with the point is. It's like people have it, But the way things are now, everybody's gets so pulled over to something. There's not a lot of people. There's people that they're frustrated, but they're not to the point to where they have a common desire to change yet. That's the thing. The last 3 years showed it. There's not a commonality. There's people that are frustrated, but there's not enough. And we're not there yet, apparently.
Let me point something out to everybody. Very important. When all this is going on, no matter if you're in mainstream media or you look alternative sources, and there's tons of alternative sources, and I'm always telling people, don't just trust
196, Ron. 196.
Okay? Don't just trust whatever. Did you know that during the lockdown for COVID, can we say that?
I think so now.
Did you know that 99% of all the advertisements and the posters and the commercials were the same colors as the Ukrainian flag?
Huh. Good one.
Do you think they were kind of putting you in, oh, we got to build back better, we got to work together, togetherness, work together, common cause, and you're now seeing, oh, I know that you psychologically you're not paying attention to it, but you see the yellow and the blue, and you're like, yeah, we've got to. Let me put that on my profile.
Well, that's part of it because they approved. That was another thing that happened during the Obama time is propaganda was approved to be able to use against the American people.
Yep. Subliminal messaging.
Mm-hmm. That's part of that's the whole thing is like I said, unless people think we're having an argument here, it's like we're not. It's one of those things. I agree with them. It's just my thing is, I just know from talking to people, not everybody's on the same page. And if somebody pulls a trigger like the Bubba effect, like what we talked about, when you don't have enough people on the same page, everything becomes fractured. And when you're fractured, as soon as there comes a crackdown, you're going to have a lot that will fold. Just like we can talk the American Revolution, there's a lot that folded. When the British cracked down, there was a lot that laid down their weapons and went back to the farms. But there are still those that fought. But the problem is most of them, they had that common goal. They had that common thing that locked them. There's not a lot of people with that. And that's the problem. Until we have more people on the same page, it's one of those things. I'm afraid it would become a French Revolution and not the American one. You would have bloodshed, but it would not be good. It would be bad.
I'm going to go so far to say that people have woken up. This wasn't brought to you by the right side. Like, look, see, we told you. People have found out and discovered on their own. They see all the proof. They see all the information coming out. They hear the news stories. The MSM is now being forced to report on things that they were told not to. It's all coming out. And people are waking up to the fact you have been targeted. You're targeted. They're not buying a lot of the narrative. This is a last stand for these people. And they'll go out and they'll kill everybody they can. They'll start World War III, and Joe Biden will send nuclear missiles or whatever into Ukraine. They're waiting for that. They're waiting for it. Because if they lose, if they don't have that, and all the truth comes out, and supposedly if you follow the Looking Glass Project, it's all coming out. They will not have an inch of anything to hide under. They're done. And I just did a partial remote view that I haven't published yet. And there's going to be a point in this world, and you can see it now. I posted this last 4 years. I saw people with long rifles over their shoulders. Everybody age 18 and up. Not one person didn't have one.
Where was this at?
Well, I thought it was Israel, and then I realized it wasn't. It's the United States, all throughout the United States, actually North America. Not one citizen would be without a rifle. And the whole mentality that I got from that whole view was, we're not taking it anymore. And if you try to pull anything, we're going to dispense justice right then and there. We're not going to go to trial with you.
Judge, jury, trial, and execution.
We, the people, will not take this crap anymore. And it was black. It was white. It was pink, blue, green, gay, straight, whatever. All of them. All united. And I pray what I saw comes to fruition in the next 6 months. Because if it doesn't come soon, I don't think we're going to have a 2024 election.
Yeah, that's one of those things. It's that the only part of there is I just don't see the commonality with everybody.
Yeah, well,
That's the problem. It's like I could see it if there was enough people that were on the same page. But there's not enough people that you could even ask them right now. You'd probably get them right now. A majority of people that say no, I'm not willing to pick up a weapon.
let me ask
Because they're not there yet.
I'm going to ask something.
I don't know if they look back at what happened to Ukraine. I'm sure people will get a gun. I'm sure people will pick up.
I'm just talking. I'm literally just like brainstorming here. Like if somebody came up to the three of us right now and said, "I've had enough. We're going to take it back right now."
Let's go,
I can't even. It's like I don't know if the three of us would on that moment grab it and lock arms with them and start marching on the Capitol.
I mean, I couldn't get off.
You don't have to answer that. It's one of those things. Like if they just did it like tonight, like after we get off the show, I don't know if everybody listening, how many of those would be willing to say, "Oh yeah, if they just came to me right now, I'd march."
I don't know, because the other people played fuck around and find out. So I don't know who would be willing to go.
Let me ask you this: if that list of places that supposedly DEWs are pointed at, what happens if a week from now, all of a sudden these forest fires starts and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and God forbid homes start going up, and you're there and you see the beam come down, Craig? You're out there in the truck. You're like, "What the? It was a beam. Do you see the beam?"
Well, I think, like I said, I would start sounding the alarm. I'd start doing the thing, but I wouldn't be at the point where I need to grab a weapon and march.
What would happen is people would connect the dots to what has happened around the world, especially after Maui, and they're going to go, we're done. We're done. They're smart. They picked what they picked to a certain degree because it's Democratic run, but they didn't consider that the native blood that pumps through a lot of these people who just lost everything is a warrior's blood. And their elders are going to tell them, your warrior ancestors wouldn't have taken this. King Kamehameha wouldn't have taken this. And I see them, I literally see an uprising. That could be the catalyst for people on the mainland to say, well, F this. I'm not going to let them target my kids.
It'll be interesting. Like I said, it'll be one of those things to keep a look at, and see what comes of it. Because like I said, it's that's just one. It's like the tea leaves right now. I don't know. I mean, it's like the forest fires. It's like they could, but the main thing that happened, the reason why a lot of these fires are happening like this, it's because mismanagement by the federal government and timber companies when they came to planting these trees.
Nope.
And that's
it is because of what? Okay, we're gonna go down into the conspiracy rabbit hole. Okay, here we go. Here's some magic for you. What they do with the chemtrails and the aluminum that they spread out, and there are a couple other items that they spread out. It dries out all the forests. Huge. It's not just mismanagement. It is design. The chemtrails that keep going across the sky. The chemtrails.
I know we've talked about that one, but that one is the when, what, where, and why. Nobody who's got disgruntled has said anything about that. That is one of the ones that we've talked about. That it just.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not. I can't prove the. Well, actually, I've seen some videos of things being put on planes and shit coming out of the back. But because of the materials that they're supposedly dropping into the atmosphere, it dries up the ground. It makes it like tinder.
No, the fucking sun does that.
No, I know the sun does, but you're talking about materials that get caught into and literally woven into the fabric of trees and grass and homes, and that it's like your ether, man. Spray enough ether outside. Hold on. Spray enough ether outside around you. Have it situate and just stay there. Not ether. Some of it gets heavy metals, and they're very flammable. and all you need is a spark.
Oh, trust me, I know.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. It's I'm coming from the side of through the forestry degree and stuff like that. That's what a thing that happened is when you plant the same exact species across a wide surface area, you set up a perfect food source, and then when the bugs come in and attack, and you're not allowed to treat them, they start killing off trees, and it just creates a huge amount of fuel, and that's where it is a tinderbox. And then you could have something. It could be a direct energy weapon. You could have anything that creates that spark, and then you just have a roaring inferno. It's all mismanagement because they have set up a system to where it's a real easy target. You could have somebody go in, because this doesn't even discount the theory that there was people going around intentionally setting the fires. That can happen because you've set up a system that is so designed for a massive problem. Like I said, it's real easy to, even if it was staged or truly natural caused, you could have a massive wildfire.
So is it mismanagement or purposeful management?
The mismanagement is actually and this gets back to actually with a degree. When timber companies, they have a certain crop, they need to create lumber. This blah blah. We'll just skip the whole boring stuff. So what it is you plant the trees that you want. Well, the unintended consequence is you don't have the natural barriers for bugs and disease. And so when you have a massive like Swiss needlecast and this gypsy moth, they just wiped out swaths of these trees like in the Pacific Northwest, and then all of a sudden lightning strike, bam, you have tens of thousands of acres that just go up in flames. And it's due to because the government wouldn't let you spray for the bugs, wouldn't let you spray for the diseases because of environmental things. Whether or not you want to say that was intentional because they're hoping for these, that's the thing. It's like, so what happened up in Canada, there's a really good chance that there was already, the tinderbox was set. However it was there, you could have a debate of how did it start? Was it that storm that was there a few days prior, or was it some intentionally caused? Because they did have lightning in the area, and all it takes is one. We were evacuated from our house from one lightning bolt.
Dutch Sense on his show showed them equally length spots, equal distance
Of the fires?
of a fire. There was no storm in the area whatsoever. So
yeah, for right there. I mean, well, they had one like 3 or 4 days prior to it.
Nah, I think they were doing test runs.
Because that's how ours was. It was a lightning storm, and 4 days later we had a smoker, and that smoke came up, and it was from a lightning strike that hit a stump, and it was burning under there, and then it ignited, and it ended up burning almost 15,000 acres.
Don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
you about Oregon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we were evacuated.
I'm like, you were evacuated for a lightning strike at your house here? I'm like,
back in Oregon. Like I said, that's one of those things. It's like these things can happen. Now the debate is like when you look at these things, like if they're spread out, you can make a case of like how it happened. But the one thing, like I always caution people, is like you got to remember, there's the likelihood of them going through all this planning of killing a forest just for the set them up for that one time. No, most likely what this was something that happened from hundreds of 150 years ago when they were just logging and replanting the same species of tree. And that's what now you just have this perfect scenario. If the environmental regulations come in, you can't harvest it. You've got a tinderbox. Now you have the opportunity. You have something like what happened in Hawaii. You have something like here. You can use it to your advantage now. But that's what I said. I can't get on board that they intentionally dried out the forest just to set it up with this one, because there's too much evidence that things they've done in the past lead to these problems.
So what was it? 300,000 tons or 30,000? I don't remember the number of chlorine dioxide, I think it was, that went missing, the tanker.
Oh yeah.
And then during the Canadian wildfires, the whole sky was orange, and chlorine dioxide, when burned, looks exactly like that.
And that's what I said. They could have
enhanced, maybe.
Well, that's one of the things where you could have used it. But that's why I was cautious. It's like, just watch that one part of it, because there's a really good chance it was a natural cause to the trees being set. set up for being a perfect opportunity to burn, doesn't mean that it was a natural cause of how it ignited. Because they said they could easily use it to their advantage.
There's
Never let a good crisis go to waste.
I understand what
Never
you're
let a
saying. I
good
know that,
crisis go to waste.
but there's certain things within nature that don't happen. Equally spaced fires don't happen
no.
simultaneously.
No, we're basically talking the same thing. But it's just the trees themselves. That's one of the things. I'm with Chris, unfortunately, on that one. I've yet to see the whistleblower that's come out to talk about the spray nozzles, to talk about the stuff on the thing for the chemtrails. I have the hardest time buying into that conspiracy.
Absolutely.
Just because there's nobody that's come out as a whistleblower.
I have no problem with them, having no whistleblowers. You don't necessarily have to have a whistleblower. There are some people in this world that keep secrets. They have caught these planes doing it. They have video, and we even have individuals within the government. Part of the reason why they do it is weather modification.
I mean, we don't have mechanics. We don't have baggage handlers. We don't have anybody talking about, I saw a spray nozzle on a wing. Nobody's talking about this.
Although what I do believe is that the plane that does the hurricane investigation, they could be doing the chemtrail, because that is a highly secret operation. They've had the same crew for many, many years. It's not like a new crew that goes up there. So if that is the case, then I do believe that could be the person doing the chemtrails, because that is a highly specific crew that goes up there to do the hurricane, the weather investigations. So could it be them? I just don't think it's your average TSA flight, your average JetBlue, or none of these. I don't think it's these average planes. I mean, could it be a little crop duster?
I'm going to tell you something that's very interesting, and I brought it up because I wrote an article for Outer Limits magazine regarding the observatories, and this is information that got back to me, all based on it. Okay, it's based on HAARP, weather modification, and so on. Do you remember when we had about 5 years ago, we had a Category 6 hurricane headed for the Carolinas?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it started off with 3, which would suck to begin with, and then it merged with another one, and it was a Cat 6, and it was like 500 miles off the coast, and it was going to be total destruction. In the video, that someone caught a screenshot of all the weather related imagery, just before it went from a Cat 6 to a Cat 1, an artifact appears like a beam, and the next thing you know, it goes from Cat 6 in an instant to Cat 1, and they survive everything. If a Cat 3 came to the coast of the Carolinas, that whole area, you know how many nuclear reactors are there? Remember what happened to Fukushima?
Yeah.
That would have been a bad day for everybody. A Category 6 would have destroyed the East Coast. Destroyed it, leveled it. It would have been worse than Maui.
And
so
DA there, like you said, I get the point. Like you said, I'm right there. It's just one of those things. I just have the hardest time buying into a conspiracy where you have to have so many players and nobody talks.
I know there's contrails. I know what they are. I have my one of my cousins was a Blue Angel, and then another cousin was the guy that test drove the 777s. He was trying to be in the astronaut program. I know what contrails are and know how they operate. What they're spraying and they're going, it looks like a crisscross applesauce pattern. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's I said. It's like it's one of those things. I can see the points and stuff. It's just one of those. I have the hardest time buying into it. I don't know why. It seems like one that I should be easily able to get on board with, but I've always struggled with that one.
I get it because look, I mean, everything with the disclosure, the UFO stuff, the UAP, UFO, it's all hearsay. It's hearsay from hearsay, right? None of these people are really testifying. It's hearsay report from people who said that they heard it from some person, which is hearsay. I can tell you whatever I want to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I can make up a story how, hey, I saw this and, this, they put them in a van and then they took off. And it's, you basically, it's either you believe my story or you don't.
And when people don't even swear on Bibles anymore to God, do you think they care if they're lying? Do you promise to tell that? Yeah, whatever. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I get it. It's one of those. But it's to your whole point, like going back there, there's a lot of stuff that's happened in a short amount of time. And it's, you at some point, just the fact, it becomes harder to label it as coincidence than it does an intentionality, because there's it's just one of those things. Like, if wherever we live at, if your neighbor's house catches on fire, okay, that's horrible. Neighbor down the street catches on fire. Okay, that's really weird. This is really tragic. Well, another neighbor's house catches on fire. Eventually, you have to start saying, okay, I think something's going on. We might have an arson.
Right. And
then when it keeps going, and for anybody that says like, nah, it's not related, there's too much. We've had fires before. It's warm right now, but like I said, it's not. There's nothing out of the ordinary now that would make it even that much more likelihood that we're going to have these massive blazes. So there's a good chance that, yes, some of this stuff could have been. I mean, it could have been something as simply as somebody in a Black Ops thing just went out and lit a flare and started the fire. There's just as much chance of that as it is, that a direct energy weapon was used in Maui. That's the thing. We've got reports of seeing those strikes, and that's one of the things. But just the fact of all the mishaps, it's too many things that are connected that to make it where this was just an unfortunate natural disaster.
These people, every time they do stuff, they're rushing now. And when you rush, it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing. When you start rushing, you mess up. Always. There's always going to be, like, if you're trying to recoup time, or you'll have a limited amount of time, you're trying to get things done, it's eventually going to bite them in the ass. Even if the idiot, what's his name, Prince Valium, who's in charge over in Washington, if he calls the blue hats in, it's going to be the worst day in the planet, because there's going to be a lot of hole and a lot of blue hats.
Yeah, and Charles Daly said that's the character go. That's where the whole clear and present danger. They use that line, plausible deniability. They
think right now they are untouchable. They think they hold all the cards, and they don't. And you know what? What's his name? DJT said it the other day. He goes, Space Force and what I forgot the other agency. They have all the information they need on all the elections. They collected it all.
Oh yeah,
they collected every aspect of every. They collect everything from every day. They're collecting a copy of this. We're screwed. We're so screwed.
I think I'll have to find out what it is. Speaking of election, like I said, they're talking about, if you go trace back, I think almost every president we've had can trace back to this original. I can't remember the name of it, but it was this original, royal bloodline.
Right.
And it's a common ancestor. And it's, so you basically, if you can find out who's got the closest tie to this common ancestor, you could pretty much figure out who's going to win the elections.
For real?
Yeah.
They were not expecting DJT to win.
Oh, no, that was, you could see that's why it was all hands on deck, full force, meltdown, because he was not, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he is, Charles, King John of England. Yeah, I think, some of those.
I just did my ancestry. My ancestry got it like 23andMe, and it said I was 100% fucking awesome.
I'm fucking awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. This infighting is done. No. See, that's the thing. People think like arguing something. No, that's why you got to have discussions. If everybody agrees 100%, it's a boring ass show.
Boring. We did a
As you
good
said.
show tonight. We kicked ass tonight. Where's our boy Mark? Hey, Mark, I haven't seen Mark tonight.
Mark,
Yeah,
Mark
he commented.
out.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
been a crack run. I don't know.
He had to go get some more metal canisters for Brian.
Princess Leia? Yeah, he did. I'm running low, folks.
Yeah, there's a box 100, and you can hear the rattling in that thing.
It's 50. It's 50. It's not 100. It's 50.
It's 50. And how many are gone out of that thing now?
Right now.
That sounds like a half of a box at least.
Listen, man. I'm sick.
All right. So support this because we're going to have to put somebody in intervention here soon.
Yeah.
RRT.
Chris.
Passport?
Yeah, papers.
Oh, your birth certificate.
Yeah, it's permission. Sorry. Go ahead, Greg. I
Yeah, no,
apologize.
I was going to say, see, everybody, we're getting.
Which
Yeah.
Adams president are you related to? It's a fun.
Yeah. Burt Radio. This is sponsor. Let's get us off this thing before we run off the rails. Too bad. Yes, check him out. ERT Radio, ERRT Radio. Go to Mixler.com. Set up that account. Subscribe there. He said John Adams. Yeah, it's there. So Ron, thank you for your support of the show, man. Appreciate it. Thank you to everybody. I think Carolyn gave us some stars, if I'm not mistaken, today. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Is anybody? They said,
yes.
yeah.
Got our
Like,
stuff.
subscribe, share. Please get those. Yep, the Ertlings. Become an Ertling.
Hey, Ron, do you have it by any chance? Hit my inbox. Do you have any stickers? If maybe you can get them to me before I go on my cruise. I go on a cruise next month on the 2nd. I would love to pass them out on the ship to get your listeners.
And by passing them out, what he intends to do is stick them on the walls in the bathroom, stick them on the walls of the ship, stick them to where it's going to be vandalism. He's going to be you're going to have some poor guy from the Dominican Republic who's barely making minimum wage, and he's over there having to scrape the side of the boat and repaint it because Chris has slapped a sticker that, because of the humidity, is baked on, and now he can't get it off the oil-based paint. So he's having to scrape this and paint it while the spray is hitting him. He's dying.
Listen, he's like, "What the fuck is ERT radio? I got to scrape this shit."
He's like, yeah. So that's the. Ron's like, I'm going to have to pay to clean it.
Is this a big bear cruise or something? Whatever.
No.
Bear cruise.
Right.
There he is.
What's up, Mason?
Well, he said,
Have a good night,
you need to
Mason.
fix that. Go. You need to fix. Stop, Mason. Stop.
Yeah, he needs to go take a shower.
Only kids can do that to their parents.
I know. Anybody else that would have been on. But yeah, so like I said, everybody support ERT. And Ron, think about that twice. But yes, he would support you. But yeah, it's going to be when somebody's on the toilet looking at the stall, they're going to be staring at your logo right in their face, right there in front of them. That's all you're going to see is that.
For a good time, dial in ERT Radio.
Yeah, you're going to be sitting here laying, the next person that gets on the boat is going to be looking up at the ceiling, and there's going to be an ERT sticker stuck on the ceiling.
Ertling. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm just warning you. What's going to happen? I mean, you can't trace it back to you. It's like, in his thing, they can't go after you because you weren't on the boat. So it's like you have no control over your Ertlings and whether or not they're out of control. Yeah. So everybody support Ron. He's a proud sponsor of this one for now until Chris defaces a Carnival Cruise Line ship.
Carnival? That's the worst cruise to go on. You want to go on a different one. Oh, God.
That's why I try to tell him all the time. He's like, he likes talking. He apparently likes the drunk boats. Yeah. So there you go. See, Ron, they can't come after you because you're personally on record saying I don't like to take cruises. So how could you possibly have been on that boat?
I ain't never taken a cruise.
Yeah, it was Brian. He took a whole stack of your stickers while he was at the thing, passed them around, gave them out, and somebody just happened to go on the boat and stick the stickers on there. Yeah.
Carnival is the best cruise, by the way. I heard you. I was still listening. I had to play daddy moment for a minute. I had to
Royal Caribbean, man. Royal Caribbean.
Royal Caribbean. Carnival is the best. You're going to see drunk fights, My parents went on one. They had some people
Maybe in the
prostituting.
70s it was
Carnival
pretty
was
good.
the shit.
They had people prostituting. Yeah, this is a resounding endorsement to get on this boat.
Hey, baby, you need a good time? Come and meet me at the Lido deck. You know, like whatever.
My wife likes Royal Caribbean, but I've never been
Well,
on
Caribbean
Royal
is the shiz, whatever. I'll shut up.
Yeah,
I like Carnival.
Yeah.
we like Disney.
He's a boozy motherfucker. The bars close down at 8:00. Who the fuck like Disney? The bars
Yeah.
close down at 7:30. It's a family cruise.
We don't
No, they shut down like 2. They shut down around 2.
I'm gonna be drunk all fucking night.
Yeah. No, I'm one of those. It's like even on vacation, I like to get up early. The morning time is the best time.
Why is it that when you're on vacation, you always wind up, it's easy to get up early? And then when you get back, like, I need a week.
Oh, it's just something like even on the boat. It's just something cool. The sun is just starting to come up. You're on the deck. You can just lounge out there. I was talking with some guys. I'm like, yeah, everybody out here with a crowd. You're out here. You've got the boat to yourself. You can just sit here and look out, watch the sunrise come up. It's awesome.
Yep. Cool.
You know, I'm sitting down there in the deck, you know, watching the poor, you know, I didn't have to watch some poor soul scratch an ERT sticker off the thing because nobody's doing that on the Disney boat. On Carnival, it's going to be free for all.
Carnival's the best fucking shit.
Gilbert, get down from there.
Yeah.
Come on, you can see Mama from up here, Gilbert. That's what's going to go on with shit.
Yes. So go sport. All right. Brian,
Yeah.
what do you got going on? Everybody can support you.
Hopefully my other half comes back soon. Otherwise, I'm giving my kids away.
Oh,
I will
is
be giving away my tax deductions. I'm up way too early to get these kids to school. Although my youngest, gotta give her credit, she bikes to school now, and it was so bad out down here. I mean, the lightning was insane, and these kids are biking in this pouring rain in lightning. It's like dodging lightning. I felt terrible.
They don't hold the schools back. My kid's school, I got a weather alert today from my daughter's school. Like, hey, we're holding the kids back due to inclement weather. We'll notify you when it.
I would have held kids that were walking or biking home. I think that would have been a smart thing.
I think they do that. Like, I think they'll put out an announcement like stuff like that. But we rarely heard them like for going to school. It was usually they put them on the 30/30s.
Oh, the 30-minute. Yeah.
Yeah, like stuff. So they would put them on those holds before they would release them, especially if there's lightning in the area. But it was just
The lightning was insane, and it was close. And
well, Emmett, there's Midwest lightning, and there is straight up you're going to die Florida lightning.
Oh my God!
Because you can like Midwest, you see this giant tornado type cell coming at you with lightning crashing everywhere. Florida, it is bright and sunny, and there might be this little misty gray cloud off the thing, and all of a sudden you're just going to hear this pow, and you're going to just watch this bolt strike the ground.
Yep.
You don't even see it coming. All of a sudden you look. We'll sit there, and all of us have said it. If you've been in Florida long enough, you're like, "Oop, somebody just died."
Did it? I mean, if I'm correct. I think of the United States, Florida is the capital for lightning strikes.
We are the lightning capital of the world.
Well, it's just like I said to people, it's like other places, you see these huge thunderstorms coming and you know there's lightning incorporated with them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not kidding when I say it is bright and sunny. There's like a little gray cloud, and you're going to hear this loud whip crack, and you're going to watch this lightning bolt just come strike somewhere off in the distance. And you don't even see it coming. You just all of a sudden it's just pow, it hits. And then it's no joke down here. It's like you can see why it's so deadly. And of course, everybody's out on their golf courses and stuff like that. And it's no wonder people get struck.
I use this app called Radar Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a lightning detector on it. Tells you. So I'll get the beep like beep, beep, beep. There's lightning being detected in your area. Go inside for 30 minutes. You can't do it, you know.
Yeah,
in my car. I've been in my cousin's car. Got hit by lightning while we're in it. That was fun.
Yeah, our neighbor, you know, our neighbor's stuff just right down the street, you know, got struck. So, all right, we got to wrap this up. We're already at 2 hours.
Right,
Holy
later,
crap,
everybody!
All right, good night, everybody. I said thanks for tuning in. I said on the next episode of When the Three Beards Quarrel, we are going to be talking about. No, it's good. See, this is the discussion. Like I said, all of us, we have different opinions. We still love each other.
I think the crowd was with what I was saying. They weren't going the whole. Well, let's see. Let's get the evidence. But I don't
No,
care. It's not about that. I love the conversation. It was good.
Yep, that's what I said. I still.
And it's gonna be
It's
on
one
the
of those
finals
things. We'll
book.
play it out. If in the way we hope it goes towards the one where there isn't the bloodshed. That people wake up and they're able to do it. But there's always a hope. But there's always
on a kilt and paint my face. Seriously.
That's right. Yep. That's what you're going to probably have to do. So, all right. Well, guys, as I said, great show. Everybody, we will see everybody on the next one. Good night.